Hi everyone, welcome back to this space where we learn, grow, and have fun at the same time. My name is Maureen and we are back with another video. Today I want us to talk about the necessary evils. The necessary evils. Is it even a word? We shall get into it. But first, the scripture. Today's scripture comes from Genesis chapter 45, verse 4 to 5. It says, Then Joseph said to his brothers, Come close to me. When they had done so, he said, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. That's the scripture. So let's get into the topic, the necessary evils. My reference to this topic is the Judas Iscariot story. Judas Iscariot betraying Jesus and Joseph's brothers selling him into slavery. If you know the Bible, for Joseph's story, it's in Genesis. You can read Genesis, then you'll find Joseph's story somewhere. But I realize in life sometimes we need the necessary evils. But before we get in, let me share this story. So Jesus' story, Judas betraying Jesus. Jesus was sent on earth to save human beings, to save us. And blood had to be shed to make a new covenant before God. So how was that going to be? He was perfect. He wasn't a sinner. And going on the cross wasn't easy. That's why he even was asking God if he could take away this cup away from him. But then the word had to come to pass. Then there was the need for a Judas Iscariot to betray him, because they were finding means of how to arrest him and da da da. So Judas was needed. He was necessary for the accomplishment of his purpose, of Jesus' purpose, but it was evil. So I wrote a statement because I have an article on my blog, and I wrote this part that I want us to chew on. As like, in human perspective, the Judas is evil. In God's perspective, Judas was necessary in the fulfillment of Jesus' purpose on earth. You may call Judas Iscariot a necessary evil. And then the Joseph story. So Joseph has dreams. As a young boy, he's having dreams of his family bowing down to him, which they didn't really take in a good way. Because they didn't take it in a good way, he was also his father's favorite child. The brothers were like, how can we get rid of him? They throw him in the pit. No, let us sell him into slavery. They sold him into Egypt. He goes there, he's a slave, he gets into prison, he gets into the palace. And now time goes on, the dream comes to pass that his brothers come and bow down to him. So his brothers were the necessary evil for the fulfillment of the dream that Joseph had. Most cases in life, I believe we have these places we have to step into, but we need a push. And sometimes the push isn't sweet. The push isn't what we would like to experience at the moment. But later we realized we needed that. We needed the necessary evil in the moment. In my language, we have a saying that I think would kind of match with this. It says, Akugoba yakuwa magezi. I don't know how to translate it, but it's kind of like, okay, let me try to translate it. It would mean the one who pushes you out probably helps you to find better means of you surviving. Probably that. The one who pushes you out would probably help you to find, not help you, but he or she helps you to figure out better means for your survival. So we be complacent, we be comfortable in these spaces, but when you get into a situation, you always, as human beings, we always look out for survival, for means of survival. You'll be like, how am I going to survive this? And at the end of the tunnel, you realize, wow, this was needed. So sometimes we need the necessary evils. We need those people to push us out of those places we are comfortable in instead of going on pursuing our purposes. Yes, sometimes you need to be fired on that job to go start the business. Sometimes the business will have to shutter to go for you to get back to employment. Sometimes we need those people need to make a decision so that we can come up with tough decisions. Sometimes some of us we are really, really comfortable in the spaces we are not even supposed to be in. We are scared of the next state. We are scared of what if I go out on my own? What if I go for this industry I haven't been in? What if I do this? But at the back of your mind, you know, that's where you're supposed to be. So basically, we need the necessary evil. And their job is for them to push you out, for those situations, for those people to push you out. And that's the end of their story. The rest is yours to walk, to carry the cross, get crucified on it. But remember, there is resurrection attached to it. Remember, there is resurrection attached to it. Judas's story ended when, okay, yeah, he died, but his part ended when he gave him the keys, when he kissed Jesus, and the guards, whatever the people he came with. So he gave him keys. The people come and arrest Jesus. That was the end of Judas. That was it. The rest was for him to walk, carry the cross, get crucified on it. It wasn't easy, but there was resurrection attached to it. If we are to relate to our lives, we have to carry our crosses. And we end up getting crucified on those crosses. Whoever pushes you out, whoever, chases you out of that home, whoever chases you out of that relationship, whatever, sometimes we think like, okay, this is the end of life. But when time goes on and you've walked that path, you've gotten crucified on the cross. And when you get to the resurrection part, maybe you're like, it was hard, but it was necessary. It was necessary. So sometimes we may be crying, but let us be able, if we can, to see the good in those situations, in those hard situations, those hard moments, in those bad people that we say, they are bad. They did this, but maybe it helped me somewhere. That's it for today. Till next time, remember to spread love and not hate. Bye.